Okay, we have a couple of new concepts in math this week. You also should have found this paper in your packet of new papers. This paper just needs to stay in your red folder. You need to work on memorizing what I call how many this and a that. We've already been working on many of these since the beginning of the year. Not too long ago, we talked about Mr. Gallon, and this is how we measure liquids. Think about a gallon of milk that might be in your refrigerator. It's made up of 4 quarts. Here are units for temperature. Right here, need to make sure we're memorizing those. On the back, I stuck a few metrics measurements on there that you need to be working on memorizing also. So today we're going to be talking about dry measurements instead of measuring liquids, or how would we measure a basket full of apples? Well, here's right here is a picture of some bushel baskets that somebody was selling recently, and I snapped a picture off of Facebook just so I could show you guys what a bushel basket looks like. You could fit a lot of apples in those baskets, couldn't you? So that's what we're looking at today: bushels, pecks, and quarts. Talking about putting solid objects inside of these containers. Also, just for your enjoyment, I have also attached the link to a song called I Love You, a Bushel and a Peck. This is a little song that my mom and dad used to sing to me when I was a little girl. Why do you think they would use bushel and peck to describe how much they love you? Simply because it's a very large measurement. That means I love you a lot. So you can go online and listen to the song and enjoy that little bit from my past. Okay, so I always think of that song when I think about bushels and pecks. So here's how you need to remember your bushels. First thing I do is I draw a big container. Remember, we've got large things in there like apples. There's an apple there to remind us. Next thing you do is divide the center of it into fourths. It reminds me of those popcorn canisters where you've got different flavors of popcorn in all of the different sections. So once you divide the bushel into 4 pieces, that shows where the pecks are. Bushel and peck. Now let's take one of these sections and divide it into 8 pieces. That shows how many quarts are in a peck. So peck is divided into 8 pieces, and those are quarts. Now 4 quarts in a gallon, that would be 2 gallons. 2 gallons of milk would be a lot of liquid. So you can imagine that 8 quarts would still be a lot of apples, but it would only be 1/4 of the entire bushel. So we do need to start memorizing quarts, pecks, and bushels. In this section, it should be pretty easy. You are sorting the units of measuring capacity, units of length, and time out of this box. On the back side, a couple of things to point out. Notice they put this in italics for a reason. How many marbles does he have left? Remember our rules for story problems. Always work your problem in the problem box and write your answer here. And on this one, I want to point out that you might have some remainders. Remember, we looked at remainders a little bit last week. We've been doing it for kind of a while. We've been doing practice problems, so we should be okay there. Nothing else there looks too terribly complicated. The next concept we're going to be adding this week has to do with place value. We've been talking about ones, tens, hundreds. This is the unit group, ones, tens, hundreds. The next group, its last name is the thousands. 1,000, 10,000, 100,000. The third group is the millions. And it's always ones, tens, hundreds. Ones, tens, 100,000. Ones, tens, 100 million. So you can go as far as up to 100 million of something. Let's look at this number. This number looks like a challenge to read. You simply read what you see and then give it a last name. So what do you see there? You see 1 million. What do you see there? 346. Read its last name. 1,000 and 892. You simply read the number as you normally read the number and then add its last name. Let's do a more complicated number. Let's do 721. Okay, I've added my millions place, the 10 millions place, and the 100 millions place. See if you can read this number. Remember to read its last name, and then you'll be fine. Here's what she should have read: 462,721,957. Just like it sounds. Remember, the comma goes after every three numbers. 1, 2, 3, comma, 1, 2, 3, comma, 1, 2, 3, comma, if we continued with more numbers. Okay, that should be all you need for the new concepts for this week. And do your best.